The opinions expressed on the Simone Edwards Show by our guests are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station, its owners, and or the Simone Edwards Show and those affiliated with it. In no event will the Simone Edwards Show, this station, its owners, guests, hosts, or affiliates be liable for the information disseminated on the program, including, without limitation, any loss or damage, indirect or otherwise, arising from information presented on the show. We trust you are of legal age and will consult appropriate professionals prior to employing any opinion expressed on the show. Many of the topics discussed are personal in nature, and some people may disagree with the opinions expressed on the show. We are open to your constructive criticism and or ideas for future radio programs. Please feel free to email us at the Simone Edwards Show at gmail.com. Again, that's the Simone Edwards Show at gmail.com. Hey everyone, we want to welcome you to another installment of the Simone Edwards Show right here on this station. For those of you who are tuning in for the our recurring visitors, our recurring guests and visitors, as you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather, but nonetheless the show must go on. I am happy and pleased to announce we started a new series called It Takes a Man, and our first guest for It Takes a Man is promoter Duvell the Pro Chase. And so we're going to be talking to him about, what he does, find out more about his business, his mindset, what he does here in San Diego, what it means to be a man in 2017. And we also have a giveaway because he's a promoter for the Mediterranean Jazz and Supper Club here in San Diego. So if you like our Facebook, the way he set it up is if you like our Facebook page and share the post, you can either share the Facebook live video, or you can share the post about the ticket giveaway. Then you have an opportunity to win a giveaway for this Sunday show, correct?
That's right, absolutely.
All right, so let's jump right on in. So you go by Snap the Pro.
Exactly, Snap the Pro.
Okay, so how did you get that nickname? How did that come about?
Well, Snap the Pro is actually a bike club name, motorcycle club name.
Okay.
My actual nickname back home growing up is Snapper.
Okay.
Several years ago, about maybe close to 15 years ago, I got involved with the bike club world, and they started calling me Snap.
Okay.
The Pro, D.E.F.Y, stands for Public Relations Officer.
Oh, okay.
So there's some meaning behind that. PRO was something new coming online about 10 years ago in the bike club world. Only because it was becoming so substantial and a lot of bike clubs are coming up. So we started just having a pro who can actually speak for the club.
Gotcha.
And it actually became pretty big because we started what they call the annual pro convention.
Right.
Which is a large convention for bikers.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking 5,000 to 6,000 people joining every January in one location just to talk about bike club business.
Right.
Because bike clubbing is a lifestyle, and is also it can be in a sense a business in a sense because we do so much for the community, things like that. Tremendous amount of money is generated every year from bike clubs, going back to cancer, MLK Memorial.
Right.
We raise money for that. We raise a lot of money for that. March of Dimes, anything to deal with the community. Here in San Diego, bike clubs are heavily involved with community service, giving back, feeding the homeless, toy drives. You'll see that going around all the time. So, long story short, that's where Pro came from. Snap the Pro.
Gotcha.
Snap the Public Relations Officer.
So you actually help to dispel a whole lot of myths that surround bike clubs. You know what I mean? Because for those who are outside of the community, you think bike clubs, and for the average person, the mind goes to like the Harley Davidson bikers and stuff like that, and it's right, and not necessarily a group that has like a good reputation, so to speak.
Right.
So talk to us about the difference between what you all do and the bike gangs, as you would say. What's the difference between, I guess, a bike club and a bike gang?
Well, the motorcycle club, it is a family. Even traditional bike club, and I'm not the active biker that I used to be a couple years ago before I moved to San Diego. My bike clubs chapters are on the East Coast and down south, so I'm the only one out here in San Diego, but I'm still an honorary member. But the difference, you got to tread lightly when you talk about these kind of things.
Right.
But bike clubs, traditional bike clubs, they have various ways. They keep things in the families. Everything's collective, and your bike clubs today, still a family, but they're a lot more involved with the community, building trust within the organizations. They have the social club side of it also, and they're really about brotherhood and sisterhood, bonding together, having that unity, and like I said,
so
bike
really,
clubs, they're here to give back. And again, the difference between the quote unquote, we don't like to say gang because bike clubs, let's just stereotypically called gangs all in one group.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it's not like that. It's not like that. You have a lot of fun.
Right.
They travel a lot. You stick together. But as far as that gang mentality, it's not there per se. It's more of family and unity, and everybody come together. They come together at large events. There's no trouble. Everybody having a good time. And then, a lot of times in these functions are for a good cause, to give back to something.
Oh, wow.
So the thought process of the word gang is really kind of fading away, subsiding a little bit. There are those out there, but the people that I know here, San Diego, around the country, around the world, in the bike club families, social club families, they are really about brotherhood, sisterhood, giving back to the community.
And so it sounds like there's been a shift over the years, really, in public perception.
Right.
Not so much in what you all do, but in how the public perceives it.
Right.
Because it's shifted away from, the negative persona and the negative perception, and that's now a kind of a fringe, smaller contingent, whereas the majority of the clubs that exist today, the ones that you're involved in, they're more for social causes.
Right.
And so it's like, we're going to gather together and we're going to have fun in the process. And while we're doing that, we're going to do something to benefit children or cancer.
Absolutely. That's a prime objective in a lot of bike clubs to what they do, how they function.
Okay.
Is to give back, whether they give back to the community at large or within their bike club families.
Gotcha. So now you are also a 20-year Navy veteran. How did you end up in the military? Like, what's your story? First of all, you don't look like you're a 20-year veteran. That's one. And then how did you end up in the military? What was your story? What got you there?
What got me there in the military? This is a fascinating story. I joined the military out of Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So
New York.
Yes, Brooklyn, New York. I was living in Brooklyn after I graduated. I had two boys, two babies, and I really was. This is funny. I was looking for a job. I used to travel up and down from Brooklyn to the Bronx, and some of the crazy parts of New York, selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, in the projects, selling cologne. And one day I was in a newspaper looking for a job and saw something that said, "Do you want to travel the world and visit foreign places," something like that. And I said, yeah. So I made a phone call. It was a recruiter.
Right.
And that guy stayed on me for a couple of months. And, I really decided that it was either me do that or me do something and find myself in a bad situation.
Gotcha.
Which, I was living in New York, and I was just in a bad situation, very close to doing some crazy things.
Right.
And I joined. I said, I got to get out of here. I joined, and the rest is 20 years of history, which I retired in 2012.
Right. So now you kind of got in on a fluke, right? And then you made a 20-year career out of it.
Right.
So what made you stay that long?
Well, I had a pretty, I like to say, a pretty easy 20 years. I've been a lot of places, did a lot of deployments. I had a great job in the military, and it allowed me a lot of free time. Not say free time, but it allowed me a lot of time to kind of do things that I like to do. I traveled a lot. I had really good friends in the military. I was close to home when I was in the military a lot. My first set of orders were actually California.
Oh, really?
And I said, no, thank you.
Really?
Yeah, I said, no, I'm not going to California. My mom lived in North Carolina, so I said, I'm going to North Carolina. And that's why I didn't come up to the West Coast until year 17.
Wow.
My 17th year, I came out to California, and then I said, I'm never leaving. I love it out here.
Yeah, Southern California has kind of got that. Once you're here, it's kind of hard to leave.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, what made you decide to get out?
Well, I retired. I came at 20 years. I was at my peak at my rank. Couldn't do any more, so it was time for me to go. So I had to put my package in, my paperwork in, and then I retired. Luckily, I was blessed enough that when I did retire, I retired into the same job that I left.
Oh, wow.
It converted over, so I was actually able to retire one day, took 30 days off, and came back to work.
No way.
As Mr. Yeah. So,
God will work things out, won't
exactly. He will. Yes, indeed.
So I want to ask you a question because I saw something that you posted the other day, and it's funny because it seems to be the trend with most military people. You made a comment about there was time when, coming up in the military, you didn't do certain things in uniform, and now these kids today.
Right.
Talk to us about that.
Just looking at the military now and everything that's going on in society as a whole, I say a lot, my favorite time is the 80s. And I kind of like to put some evidence behind that. And the 80s were a time where, the Vietnam War was gone, and, the guys that were on the drugs back then were, a little, I guess the drug phase was kind of going away.
Right.
And then it was before crack.
Right.
So the 80s was a great time. So kids were cool. It was fun. Nowadays, it's just a lot of violence going on. A lot of kids that you look at them and you see, wow, what's going on with that child right there?
Right.
Why did that child do this and do that? And then the same thing with the military. They come into the military.
Gotcha.
So they come in the military with that same millennial attitude. And I just don't. It seems like a lot of, not all, but a lot of kids aren't built, and they stand out when they're out in public. They're not built the same as 80s baby or 70s baby. So
so do you think it's necessarily a personality thing, or and I don't know how much you can say about this, 'cause I may be walking on dangerous ground a little bit, but is it a personality thing, or is it a boot camp thing? Like, has that changed somewhat?
Yeah, boot camp has changed with there's a lot of leniency now in the military.
Oh, gotcha.
And because of changing times, we have to change. We have, gays in the military, things like that. So you have to kind of detail the military to support that.
Gotcha.
Also, just changing times, period. You just can't go and get in a kid's face nowadays or put your hands on them or curse at them in a certain kind of way, which you probably shouldn't. But that's how discipline was kind of generated back in the days in the military, and it's just different now when you see kids,
Wow.
doing certain things. I'm just not used to seeing people walk on the phone or talk and eat like I posted
Right.
in uniform.
Right.
Or at the mall. Like one of my friends commented, yeah, they'd be at the mall hanging out, at the mall with the uniform on. We're just not used to seeing that. And
Right.
I guess I'm kind of set my ways because I came up at a different time in the military.
And it's funny because I'm a civilian. I'm not military. I have friends who are in the military, but I've never really been exposed to military life. And so a lot of what you're sharing with me is a little bit of a shock because I'm used to the stories I remembered from back then, and
right.
the way things were, and boot camp and how tough it was, and you'd have that drill sergeant in your face,
right.
and you're gonna do this, and if you screw up it affected the whole squadron,
right.
and so there was a way that people carried themselves differently. There was a way that people carried themselves then, and to kind of see the shift that has taken place in society, to hear that it's also affecting the military to a certain degree is actually kind of sad.
Right. Well, that's where.
Not that we advocate violence.
Right. I know. But that's where the kids come from. They come from society. So
Right.
it just transposed over to the military. So they're going to bring what they learn growing up into the military.
Mm-hmm.
It's no secret, kids now are. There's just a lot of difference now.
Right.
And it's a lot of pressure out there for kids now, not knowing what you're going to go into right out of high school or right out of college, because things aren't really guaranteed anymore. It's a struggle. It's hard for them.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just different now.
Yeah,
It's
it's a little bit surprising to me to hear that, just because you kind of knew, no matter what background you were coming from, the military in my mind had always been like that great equalizer. That it didn't matter what your background was, it didn't matter what your preference, any of that was. Like, once you came into the military, like, that was the place where, boot camp kind of broke you down and built you back up, and they
Right.
built you back up in kind of their image. And to hear that that's
it's
shifting
still
a little bit.
It still does tear down in a sense and then build back up. And this is not military wide. It's just isolated things that you see
Gotcha.
that you're not used to seeing. And it's not to blanket the whole entire military. It's just certain things that you see, and when you see it, you point it, you look at it, and
Yeah.
Prime example, I had a conversation on the phone when you hear young kids and they're using the N-word in uniform in front of customers. Whoa, hold on, wait a minute.
Gotcha.
So those type of things.
Right.
If I see it, the other person is going to see it.
Right.
So, it's just those things that's brought along that, I would have never done that when I was a young
Right.
sailor coming up.
Gotcha. Man, times have changed. Hey, you guys, we are over a little bit. Yes, I'm getting the look. We are definitely over, and so we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back here in studio with Snap, the pro of Pro Marketing, Management, and Travel.
Right.
Right?
Pro Marketing Management and Travel LLC.
LLC. I forgot the LLC, y'all. So, how did you get involved in promoting?
Promoting, I've really, again, goes back to my bike clubbing days. And,
Right.
When we throw a party, bike clubbers throw a party.
Right.
And our largest party we have ever put on, we had about 4,000 people in it.
Wow.
Yeah, we did our large pro convention in New Orleans, and we had close to 5,000 people there, and we had about 4,000 inside one party.
Right.
So that was one of my club's large events that we hosted back in 2009. So I've always been involved with parties and promotionals and putting events together.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just started doing what I do now over the last year and a half, working with another group, Uptown SD, about a year and a half ago.
Gotcha.
I joined on with two other individuals, and we just started doing events. I came on with them. It was already established, but I came on with them. I used to do pro bono. I would just share and help folks on their events, pushing it out. And then I just started saying, you know what, why not making money? You know, I have my own small following. I can get people to come to a show.
Right.
And my first pretty big event was El DeBarge. We did at the Music Box.
Oh, okay.
So, which is the old anthology, but that was my first large event. I jumped right into it. So we did El DeBarge here, and then my second big event was at the Port Pavilion with some other business partners. We did New Year's Eve, which was 2015.
Right.
I mean, we did SWV and Drew Hill and Tony.
Okay.
Had a local band here from San Diego, and we jumped in knee deep. So we started out that way. And then after that, we just had multiple shows, monthly shows that we do here in San Diego.
And that's through Uptown San Diego?
No, Uptown San Diego has, we stopped that part, but now I just do my own events now.
Gotcha.
I do my own events under Snap the Pro.
Okay.
Just my events. I work out of a couple places. I've done shows out of hosted shows in LA with other groups.
Right.
Pretty big events. And here in San Diego, I work out of Music Box, and then my venue, which is the Mediterranean Jazz and Supper Club, which is located inside a Comedy Palace.
Okay.
So I work with those folks over there. They gave me my own night. So I have my own event.
Wow, that's really cool.
Right.
So we're going to segue a little bit. You were actually responsible. So Black Girls Rock, you brought that to San Diego last year.
Right, yes.
How did all of that come about?
That came about, I just wanted, over the past maybe 3 or 4 years, I just wanted to do something like that. Just something to help out in the community, bring some light to certain situations. And I work with a lot of young ladies that I know that are doing phenomenal things.
Right.
That wouldn't otherwise be noticed. Michelle Crumpler, she has Brilliant Treats.
Right. Shout out to Brilliant Treats.
Yeah, shout out to Brilliant Treats. That's my girl right there. She's something else. Michelle keeps me
on the straight and narrow.
yeah. I'll never tell. We kind of bump heads sometimes, but she's great. She kind of keeps me aligned. And just some other ladies out here in San Diego that are doing really big things. But so I just kind of figured, like, why not let's do something for them. So I just got a team put together. Michelle was on it. D.E.F.Y Washington was on it. She has her own company here in San Diego. Aisha Davis. Wow, Jackie Clark.
Hey, Aisha.
Debbie Gibson. Oh, gosh, it's a lot of women. Christina Buckner. She has real estate over in La Jolla. It's just a lot of women we brought together. I think about 12 women. A couple of guys. I don't know if I can see my face when I said that, but so we kind of just came together and just put that on. Reached out to a lot of people who are doing their own things in San Diego, and we just wanted to honor them.
Right.
So and that's basically the theme of it, it turned out pretty good.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something that you guys are going to do on an annual basis, or was that a one-off?
We want to do it on an annual basis. And to be honest, we kicked up so much dust that we got a phone call from BET.
Really?
Yeah, we kicked up a lot of dust with that. And BET gave us a phone call, and they was like, long story short, we want to do it. We might change the name a little bit, but we're working on that right now.
Okay.
So might change the name because they have BET Black Girls Rock also.
Gotcha.
Yeah, even though there are a lot of Black Girl Rock events around the country,
right.
We kicked up a lot of dust.
But that's pretty impressive, though, that you guys got a call from BET like, excuse you.
yeah, it was pretty. I was like, who is this again? So, yeah, but we're trying to do it again. August 19th, 2017. And actually, we need to start working on that, ladies. But yeah.
All right. Well, you've heard it here first on the Simone Edwards Show. Black Girls. We're not going to call it Black Girls Rock, but just know it's something like that is coming to San Diego.
Exactly.
In 2017.
Black Women of Excellence is the actual name.
I love it.
Yeah, Black Women of Excellence. That's the one we kind of went with. So I need to get with my team again on that so we can talk.
Right.
So hopefully somebody's watching.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk to from a business perspective. Some young man out there, some young woman out there who wants to be a promoter, right? Talk to them about this business and how do they get involved? What are some pitfalls to look out for? What do they need to do to make sure that they remain credible?
Right. Well, that's a great question. As a promoter, I kind of look at myself in a twofold in a sense. I am a promoter, but I'm more of a producer. I think because all my shows are live.
Right.
All my shows I have to bring in. I have a DJ for a lot of my shows, but everything is live instruments, singing. My last show we just had Sarisa, we had Damian Willis, and we had that band. So it was a great show, but everything is pretty much live. But as far as the pitfalls, it's a great thing to do if you want to bring entertainment to people.
Right.
Some of the pitfalls, or let's just say some of the things you should do is just make sure you have capital is always important.
Right.
Capital is important because money talks.
Right.
So if you have the money, you have the venues, you got to have a strong following. You have to have that way to promote.
Right.
And you have to have people, like yourself, that they can go and contact to say, hey, I need some assistance on this to push this word out. Right. And really with events, it's all about promotion. It's all about, again, credibility with the artists. And priorities to me should be venue, the artist, and then yourself.
Gotcha.
If you can take care of the venue's happy. If you can take care of the artists and the band, they're happy. And then, you take care of yourself at the end of the day to make sure that you're happy or close to being happy. Promoting is music itself, entertainment itself. And
right.
People hear the horror stories on television all the time, Ice Cube and those guys. Look at what happened with them.
Right.
And those things are real.
Right.
And they happen even on the smallest level. So, just money. When you're dealing with money, you have to be right with everything.
Right.
You have to be upfront about everything, or try to be as upfront as possible, because things always happen. Right. Prime example, we have time. I had a show in L.A. My first show at Mediterranean, January the 15th. I had a show in L.A. also at another venue. What happened? I flew everybody in. We in L.A. It was raining a lot. The roof caved in at the venue. So what happened with that is, you have artists that are money spent, time,
right,
great events supposed to go down, and now it's canceled. So you got to be able to kind of logistically pull that back together and move on to the next show.
Right.
You know, the next show we had 190 people in San Diego at our show, which was great. But the night before, those things can cause pitfalls, and then it goes back to money again.
Right.
You know, money lost, you know, things like that. So things happen. But again, going back to capital, credibility, having a strong following, and just knowing what you want to do. And you got to stick with it. You know, if you don't stick with it, you got to stick with it, because I know a lot of people who they have a love for it, but you got to follow through with it.
Gotcha.
Because it's not going to happen in 1 month, 2 months. It might take 6 months. But you know, if you stick with it, you know, you can kind of see things through.
Right.
You know,
that's really good advice. I especially liked not just the follow through, but the credibility and the integrity.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than working with somebody and they're not on the same page that you are. There's nothing worse than working with somebody and you think that they're on the up and up and they're not. Because integrity and credibility will take you a long way, even when things happen like the roof caves in.
Right.
You know, like literally in your case.
Yeah.
Being able to have the character to back you up will help you to recover from that a lot faster and go on to the next event. People be like, yeah, this happened, but man, you know, he was a great guy and I really liked working with him. And so, yeah, we'll make this happen here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome advice. All right, you guys, we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back in studio with Duvell Chase, Snap the Pro of Pro Marketing Management and Travel, LLC. All right, so we are going to kind of get into the heart of this a little bit. You are a full-time employee, right?
Yes.
And a full-time entrepreneur. So how do you find and or create balance?
I'm sitting here not saying that right now because I'm trying to figure it out. I am really trying to figure all of it out. You know, working full time, you know, I have pro marketing and management, which in itself is more of a referral service right now. And then I do the promotion side. I have another company, iDropoff, which I'm partnered with some more guys here in San Diego, which is the evening time delivery service. We make deliveries between 6 p.m. and midnight.
Wow.
So we have packages come into the warehouse. We get the phone call. We got to go out and then sometimes drop things and go deliver packages.
Wow.
You know, so it's work in progress. So hopefully what I'm building toward is having a team to help out with the pro marketing and management side of the house. I have a couple artists right now that I also manage, and we book shows. We've got a show coming up in Atlanta this weekend at St. James Live with a very, very prominent guitar player by the name of David P. Stevens out of Philadelphia. And then my artist, John White, Jay White, he's in San Diego often, saxophone player.
Right.
Yeah, these guys are huge. So trying to balance a lot of that. You know, I'm looking for some people to help out, you know, on that side of the house because it is a lot of work, you know, 9 to 5 job. And yeah, it's a lot.
Man, I feel you. I really do. I don't do nearly as much as you do, but yeah, that full-time entrepreneur, full-time employee.
Yeah.
Whew, I was thinking today, I think I need an assistant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and if you can afford one, definitely go out and get an assistant,
Right?
or go get a student or something at UCSD and have them come and intern for you or something like that.
Right.
That's a good idea, though.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
One day.
Get one of those engineer students over to come help you out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold on to that one.
Yeah.
So, is there in this business that you're in, is there a promoter in the business that you admire that you're kind of like, man, that guy?
In this business that I look at, I look at guys that who have longevity.
Yeah.
I look at some guys like Floyd Smith.
Okay.
Floyd does a Saturday night event, over at the 4 Point Sheraton. He's been doing this for years.
Wow.
For years. It's a few guys. I have some guys on the East Coast that I look at. But some guys out in L.A. That I look at and I check those guys out. Patrick Smith and those guys out in Riverside.
Right.
They do some really great events. There are a few. It's a lot of. I learn a lot from people like Dale Dorsett. He does a lot of stuff here in San Diego. I talk with him a lot. He brought me to a lot of the shows. I learned a lot from him. Rod Smith. Rod. I learned a lot from him.
Mm-hmm.
You just pick up things when you start dealing with people. And
Right.
and me, I'm a person that I watch everything.
Right.
The military
Right.
got me kind of like being nosy,
Right.
but I look at everything. I see what people do. I see how they do it. I see what things that they do wrong, and I might try to do. I'm going to try to do them right.
Right.
But it's with this game, we call it the game. It's a learning phase all the time because there's so many ups and downs in it. So you always learn. But yeah, I would say. Dale. This is just people at the top of my head. I'm thinking right now.
Right.
Dale and Rod and Floyd Smith. And because I do promotions, also I work with sound guys. We do shows at Qualcomm.
Right.
So I'm involved with the sound part. I love being on stage and hooking up mics and hooking up amps and wiring up drum sets and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people. So I can get pretty close to big time artists, so I like doing that part as well. So, but yeah, definitely I pick up a lot from a lot of different guys.
Nice. Is there anybody? I know you've mentored people in the past because you've done like the drug education
And youth, yes,
and youth program.
Right.
Drug education for youth, D.E.F.Y.
Right.
You did that program through the military, and the work that you've done with the bike clubs. Do you have a mentor?
Do I have a mentor? I do. I have people. They might not know their mentors, but I definitely watch a lot of people, and people talk to me all the time. Hope my boy don't get mad at me, But I have one of my homies, Charles Burris. I look at him, entrepreneur, big time. I look at him, listen to him, and some of the things that he has done. There are a few people, family back home. My biggest mentor is my mom. To be honest with you, because, single parent growing up.
Right.
I had a male figure in my life. She really kind of shaped and molded me.
Right.
To do some of the things that I do now. Because she's a great woman.
Right.
But yeah, I watch people. I literally watch and see what people are doing.
Right.
And not to mimic or carbon copy them, but I get my enthusiasm to want to do more from. I see other people doing certain things, and I'm like, well, I can do it also. I might not get exactly there, but
right.
My goal in life is to be okay. So if I got to pull some ideas from other people, and they don't know that I'm looking at them, then that's cool with me.
Right. So, talk to us now about, in your opinion, because this series is called "What Takes a Man."
Mm-hmm.
What is manhood? What is that? What does it mean to be a man in 2017? And what does it mean to be a black man in 2017?
Sacrifice.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, men. Let's talk about men. The sacrifice part. I don't know if people really understand sacrifice. Sacrifice is, sacrificing not just money. A lot of people think a lot of things monetarily, but time is very important. Time is money. Money is time. But time is very important. Are you willing to sacrifice that? Are you willing to go that extra mile or 2 miles to get what you want? And it kind of goes back to you got to see things through. And if you don't see things through, then, if you quit, you're just going to remain mediocre. And, why remain mediocre in this world? Because if you don't do it, the next person will. So, for black men, you just got to sacrifice, see things through, and really try to be stand up. Try to be a stand-up person, and just do things right. And I don't believe in whining and crying about certain things. Just do it. I don't know. It's kind of vague to say just do it, but just do it. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. So, and just being a man, just in this time, with guys being afraid of the law, things like that. I mean, I don't care who you are, cops, you see police. I mean, we have this thing now. I work with people with PTSD a lot from the military in my job, and I really think the black man has a PTSD when it's dealing with the law. 'Cause I don't care who you are. In your back of your mind, you see a cop, you're gonna feel a certain kind of way. All depending where you're at. Even here in California now, I was just called the N-word about 2 weeks ago. My vehicle stalled, and a white guy came by in a old beat-em-up truck, actually a beat-em-up car, and he gave me the finger and called me and kept on going. So I've heard that like 2 or 3 times recently.
Wow.
And again, in this day and time, the black man, be strong, stand up for yourself, stand up for your community, and do it. Just go out and do it. If it's legal and you're doing it the right way, do it and don't give up. And don't be mediocre by no means. Don't take mediocrity as it's okay, because it's not. It's not okay to be mediocre.
That's really good advice. That's really, really good advice. What legacy do you want to leave for your kids?
To leave for my kids, I definitely want them to understand that I tried. With my 2 boys, I didn't grow up with them. Well, they didn't grow up with me all the time. And even though they're older now, I have grandkids. I have two granddaughters.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So, I would definitely like to, at some point, make sure they can understand that granddad and my sons to understand that, that I tried. I had a lot of ups and downs in life that a lot of people don't really know about, but I tried. And trying to do, even at an older age, it's for anybody. It's kind of never too late if you really want to try. So, but yeah, definitely, that might be one thing. That legacy that I'm trying to do good, trying to do right. And then see where it leads me.
That's good. That's really good. So here's kind of like the $50 million question, right? So now we've talked about manhood. We've talked about fatherhood. Let's look at the community. And so there's a lot of on, either side of the fence within our community, within the black community. Who's responsible for the state that the community is in right now? And how can we fix it? Because we're talking about it takes a man, right?
Right. Yeah. I think I have this conversation several times a week.
Wow.
With my business partners, my friends. Just had it yesterday. Just had it this morning in the barbershop with my barber. Big shout to Kay the barber over at our university. He cut me up this morning. Thanks, bro. I don't know if he's watching right now, but he probably cutting some heads. But we have this conversation all the time about who's responsible. And me being 40-something, I kind of like, I'm more old school because I remember growing up and my mom was there, but I lived in the projects.
Right.
I literally had this thought last night. The project kids always had this group of guys who are now very prominent men. They're ministers and things like that, and they used to always teach us everything: how to swim, how to play basketball, how to roller skate. Fend for your community.
Mm-hmm.
We all had that,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't necessarily have that now. And a lot of it, to do with kids are having kids in a sense. So a lot of it has to do with that, I think, and just community as a whole. We don't have those black communities like we used to. Everything is kind of spread out in a sense, and people don't believe in more so taking care of the next child because times are different now. You can't go yell at somebody's kid anymore. You can't get the spanking.
Yeah, the whole it takes a village.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think theoretically we want it because we remember having it.
Yeah.
But logistically,
right. So you can't really do it.
Yeah.
And people take offense if you yell at somebody's kid for doing something wrong.
Right.
And that goes back to credibility also, and then doing the right thing. If you are a person that the community or people around are good people and they're not trying to be facetious about disciplining your child. But not everybody, but people really get, offended if you don't tell my child what to do.
Right.
I mean, so people are going to kind of hold back, on doing that type of thing. So, yeah, the village, yeah.
Here's something you brought up, though, that is kind of like once you said it, I went, wait, what? You said growing up as a project kid, one of the things you remember was the ministers.
Right.
Coming into the community and kind of like teaching the kids how to, teaching them skill sets and things to do. And so it kind of sounds like if we're going to get back to the building up of our community, then the ministers within the church need to get out of the church and get back into the community.
Right, yeah. I think that's a good point. Well, these guys here, they're ministers now.
Yeah.
They're ministers now. Back then, they were being younger.
Yeah.
They were, 15, 16, something
Gotcha.
like that.
Okay.
But they're ministers now.
Gotcha.
But even back then, we had a lot of, being in the project, everybody knew each other. So, we went to church.
Yeah.
We had mom and grandma right there.
Right.
Grandma went to church.
Right.
So, the pastor I think the pastor on the next road over.
Right.
So I mean, we had that.
Right.
We had that, then. So it was in a sense like that. We knew not to act up.
Right.
Because I got my butt whipped plenty of time by, the lady that wasn't no kin to me at the end of the projects.
Right.
So, but yeah, that going out, I think that'd be a great idea, though. I know a few churches out here that have pastors that you'll see out in the community.
Right.
Not being for San Diego, I don't know everybody, but definitely I think that's a great point. Whether it's the minister, whether it's the imam from the from the mosque or whatever, just seeing something out there.
Right.
Because people are really straighten up when you see a pastor walk through. I don't care who you are.
Right. And you know what? I really do. I miss those. To be honest with you, I miss those days. There were times when I remember growing up. You know what I mean? And kind of like the good old days. When you would walk by a church, and it's like there are certain things you wouldn't do as you were going by a church.
Yep. You turn your music down too when you're going by a church in your car.
Right.
You're
just kind of like,
I don't think that happened there. Yeah.
No, not today. I'm not gonna have. Turn that down.
Yeah. No,
you didn't spit on church grounds. You didn't cuss when you were walking by, and then the pastor had a certain reverence, and it's kind of like there's some of that I think is lost a little bit.
Yeah.
That is really at the center of the breakdown of our communities. some of that contributes to the breakdown of community, because it's kind of like, in order for us to have that sense of togetherness and that sense of wholeness and that sense of being together, it really starts with our relationship with God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of it goes back to also with media. I mean, media plays a big part in, what people think,
Right.
You got the jokes, you got the memes, about pastors and priests and stuff like that. So those things they make a lot of people skeptical, and a lot of times it's unjust in a sense. But I mean, those things are out there to make, especially the younger kids now, because younger kids, they see all this stuff. So, you probably have less younger kids going to church now than ever before. Only because they see these things.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I think the media does play a role, but when you really come in contact with a true believer, when you really come in contact with a true man of God, a person who is really sincere about their walk with God, it will shift whatever perspective was planted in your mind.
Definitely, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
And so I when you said that, that just triggered something, you know what I mean? That sense of community, that it's in order for us to really start focusing on rebuilding communities. I really believe that those who are in churches, it's time to kind of get out of the four walls and take Jesus outside of the church wall,
right.
and get out into the community and kind of roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and teach a kid how to ride a bike, because teaching him how to ride a bike may have lasting and rippling effects down the road.
Right, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we are over time. We'll be back in just a moment. When we come back, we are going to do our giveaway. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's show? Would you like to share your testimony or any constructive critiques? Would you like to know how to be a guest on The Simone Edwards Show? Please feel free to email us at thesimoneedwardsshow@gmail.com. We are also available on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Be sure to follow us to receive updates regarding the show and our other ministries.
All right, we are back here in studio with Duvell Chase, Snap the Pro of Pro Marketing Management and Travel LLC. We've had a great time here in studio. Tomorrow night. Talk to us about the show that's coming up.
Okay, well, tomorrow we have our, our fourth show at the Jazz, Mediterranean Jazz and Supper Club. And we have the LA Collective will be there. Mr. Darrell Williams. We have Greg Manning. We have Tony Moore from LA on drums. And we have Mr. Adam Hawley. Adam is the number 2 artist on the smooth jazz charts, and he lives right here in San Diego, actually in Chula Vista. Darrell Williams has he's in Temecula. He's from LA but lives in Temecula. He has a new album that's out right now. And Mr. Greg Manning, which is a great keyboard player. I mean, he's a great keyboard player. And we have the young and very talented Mr. Curtis Brooks on saxophone. People love Curtis. Curtis is one of the most energized saxophone players I've ever seen in life. Guy can play anything, but we'll be there. We also have our comedy happy hour, which we have a comedian. All of our shows have opening comedians. We have P-Man that's going to be there. Doors open at 6 p.m. at the venue, which is at 8878 Claremont Mesa Boulevard, which is located inside of the Comedy Palace. Live music. We also have DJ Gill. He's our DJ for the night. But live music is a good movement right now, especially smooth jazz, because it kind of takes out all the other stuff, and just give you a real appreciation when you see talented guys and women. I say women because I just booked Jeanette Harris, which is one of the best saxophone players for Mother's Day. It's gonna be a huge show. But when you pull people in together, it just, we have a 25-year-old person listening and enjoying live music, and then you have a 82-year-old person who's also there at the same time. it crosses all these generations, and everybody having a good time and listening to not a bunch of other stuff, but just live music.
Right.
You know, and it's a good time. It's
nice.
a really good time.
All right, Antonia, we have put the names in the bag, and she's going to shake it up. It's being shaken. And so here's how it's going to work for our giveaway. The winner, we're going to have, Duvell's going to put your name on the list.
Mm-hmm, I will.
And so you
Plus
just show up, and you'll get in.
That's right.
All right. And so here we go.
Oh, I'm going to pull it out. Okay, cool. Don, read it also.
And the winner of 2 tickets to tomorrow night's Mediterranean Jazz Supper Club is?
All right, it is Miss Dawn Velez.
Dawn Velez, you are the winner. You have won. Woo!
All right, yes, indeed.
I feel like I need to have sound effects going in the background.
Yes, so Dawn, I will definitely put your name on our list tomorrow, +1. So come out and have a great time. Doors open at 6.
Excellent. So how have yours, let's finish up the interview. How has your strengths helped you to succeed in business?
Succeed in business. Again, everything with me goes back to due diligence and the need to want to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I mean, set goals for yourself. I set some goals, and sometimes I hit them, sometimes I don't, but I just reset it. And with this, I just something that I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do. I have a serious love for, and then the passion, for doing something good, putting on a great show, for people to enjoy. And that's it. Just the due diligence of it, and the follow through.
Nice.
The due diligence and the follow through for it. That's what kind of gets me through, and being persistent. Because in certain places, this is not Atlanta where black people own a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
In this town, you have to be persistent. It might take, again, 6 months, or it might take a year, but if you're persistent and you show people that this is what you want to do, and you can bring value to something, then those are things that are going to help you out.
Awesome. Really, really good. Now we're going to go to the other side of the aisle, because we have to always balance the seesaw.
Yes.
Right? How have your faults hindered you?
My faults being persistent. I like to do things really big, and doing things big on the first time aren't always the best things.
Gotcha.
Again, goes back to capital.
Right.
I'm not a millionaire, so it goes back to capital. It goes back to, you don't always have to go big all the time.
Right.
I went big on a lot of different things, and they didn't pan out right.
Yeah.
But and that's one of the biggest things. And again, you still got to see it through. Because a lot of things, people aren't really built for, that if they take that L really big the first time, they'd be like, I'm throwing in the towel. I could have done this a couple times, but I didn't. So I decided to kind of follow through with it, and then see where it's going to take me. I just don't believe in giving up unless I really, really have to.
Okay.
I'm not going to go too far in a hole, but
but
at the same time, if you can see. Just set a target date A. If you can see where it's eventually going to head to, and if you can, wade through all the badness, and I had several pitfalls. You can see the other side. It'll work out.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna close out. What advice do you have for just men in general? Because this is it takes a man. What do you want men to know for 2017 and beyond?
2017 and beyond, brothers stick together.
Yeah,
That's one of the coolest things that we can do right now. brothers sticking together, especially us guys that are like 35 and over. It's like we are really out there. All my friends are out there. We're doing things, going places. We really got to bond together because everybody's looking.
Right.
Everybody, they're looking. Either they're looking and like good job, or they're looking and laughing. And I'm, for one, I don't want to be laughed at.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to look at us and be like, we got to take these guys serious. And for the brothers, we really got to stick together and do our part.
Right.
We got to do our part. Take care of home first, but definitely get out there, and do our part with society, so other people aren't looking at us like they did just what I thought they were going to do.
Right.
Things like that. So just take that away from people.
Yeah.
Don't give nobody the power to say, yeah, I kind of figured that was going to happen or something like that.
Right.
Or I told you so. Yeah, none of that.
Right.
None of that.
Great advice, man.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure having you in studio.
Really
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, you've heard it here first on the Simone Edwards Show. Black Women of Excellence coming to San Diego in August 2017. It was called Black Girls Rock San Diego. They kicked up so much dust. BET called them and was like, you need to change the name.
Yeah, literally.
So they're going to change the name because that's how they roll. They did a great job. I was there. It was an awesome event. Mediterranean Jazz and Supper Club for you jazz lovers out there every Sunday.
Every Sunday
At 6 in San Diego. And so we want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking time. Dawn Velez, you are our winner. Congratulations. Or I should say Velez Dawn. You are our winner. So congratulations. Your name is on the list for you and a guest. Show up. You guys, we will see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. here on this station. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Bye.
Bye.